Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here with my seasonal wrap-up. If you watch my seasonal TBR video, you know that I wanted to read a couple of books during the months of October and November, and I'm here to talk to you about them. So the first one that I read, I actually started this one back in September, like the last week of September. And that's A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I really love the film, so I really wanted to read this book. I'm not going to say that I loved it because I didn't. I enjoyed it for the most part, but I have to admit that I was a little bit disappointed with the first part of the book because it is really slow paced and I don't think it adds anything. Sometimes books are slow paced for a reason, and this one, I don't think it had a reason to be. I really enjoyed the second part. I think the experience they put Alex through was really well explained. And sometimes if you watch the film for the first time, you don't really understand everything, and then you have to watch it a second time. So I think the book really sheds a light on that. My biggest problem was with the fictional slang though, because I don't know if you have an edition like this one, but this edition has a list of words at the end of the book, and I always had to resort to that because the fictional slang is so present, and until you get used to it, it's really hard for you to keep on reading because you have to stop every now and then to go and see and check a word, and I didn't really enjoy that. I think the experience would have been the same if I had read the book in English. I read it in Portuguese, but I think I would have the same issue. It is just really confusing at times, so I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm not one to DNF books, so I really wanted to push through, and I ended up enjoying it. I just don't actually love the book. I think the slang made it really difficult to understand the message the book was trying to convey at times, but once you get used to it, it is easy. But yeah, so it was an okay reading for me. The second book that I read was Selected Stories by Anton Chekhov. Even though this is not a really thick book, you have like 24 short stories here, because some of them are like 2 pages long. And I have to admit, those stories didn't have an impact. I read them, I liked the writing, but the story itself didn't have an impact, and I didn't really appreciate it fully. But it really didn't matter because you just want to keep on reading because Chekhov's writing is so beautiful. You just have to continue. And my favorite story is entitled At Home, and it is about the relationship between a father and his son, and it is told from the perspective of the father. So he's mesmerized because his son, he thinks his son is so well developed, he's going to grow up to be one amazing man, and he's really happy, and he really appreciates the way his son is trying to talk to him and trying to understand real life concepts, and he's trying to explain his stories. But at the same time, you find the father questioning, why is my son using his imagination? Why is he resorting to these skills? I mean, you have to be very practical. So I think the clash of generations was interesting because nowadays we want children to be creative. We want them to use their imagination. I also believe that children should be allowed to be creative, should be allowed to be imaginative, and should be allowed to use all of their skills to understand something that is hard for them. But I understand that back in the day, that was not the norm. So children, especially boys, were seen as being mini adults, and a lot of the times they didn't have the same type of childhood some of us did, so they were not allowed to do a lot of things that now we are. And it is understandable that this father couldn't understand why his son was using his imagination and using art especially to talk about serious things. But at the same time, you see him feeling really proud and mesmerized with his growth and his development as a person. So it was really cool. I really liked that story. It was just like really refreshing. And yeah, I recommend this book. Honestly, Chekhov's writing is one of the best things in my life right now. Like, I want to keep on reading. I really loved it. The other book that I read, and I'm counting this one as a book because I know that this exists as one book, is The Haunted Hotel by Wilkie Collins. This was my first book by Wilkie Collins. This is over 100 pages, so I don't know if I would consider it, but I think I would consider it a short story. I didn't read the other stories. I will one day, but for the purposes of this wrap up, I only read The Haunted Hotel. I really like I really like it. This is sort of a mystery story, and at the same time supernatural. I was just a little bit confused because there were a couple of characters that you think they're going to have a really important role, and then they just disappeared. So I was a little bit confused with that. But I've seen it happen before. I've read books like that before, and at first it always confuses me a little bit. I always question me, but where is the doctor? And sometimes I go, the doctor, because I'm talking about a doctor specifically. And sometimes I have to go back and see, let me read this again. Did I miss something? Is there a hint here as to why he's never mentioned again? But no, that didn't happen. I still enjoyed the book, even though those characters just sort of disappeared, or they ended up not being as important. But overall, I really liked this book, and yeah, I liked it because it is told from different perspectives. I don't know if I would consider this narrator to be unreliable, because I think that sometimes the narrator was guiding us towards the wrong answer, and then plot twist again. And I enjoyed it, even though it is quite short. Like I said, it's just a little bit over 100 pages, but it was quite interesting. It made me think a little bit of Lady Audley's Secret. I really liked the idea of a mystery novel, a classic mystery novel, but this one has a supernatural factor, and it was interesting in that sense. I also started, but I didn't finish, obviously. I started Stephen King's It. I talked about this before in my current reads video, so I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but I'm enjoying it. So far, I think it's really interesting. I think it's really different from the TV series and the films, but that's a good thing. So far, I'm enjoying it a lot. I think that I will end up loving it. Because King's writing is right up to my alley. I'm really enjoying his vivid description, especially the smells. I've mentioned this before. So yeah, this was a big surprise, but it still freaks me out sometimes. My boyfriend gave me this book, gave me It by Stephen King, and I just wanted to read it right away. So I think that's the reason why I didn't have time to read this one. But this one was part of the original TBR, and that's Tales of Mystery and the Macabre by Elizabeth Gaskell. I have read a short story from this book, and I enjoyed it a lot. I am actually really sad that I didn't get to finish this book during these 2 months. But between working and finishing my degree, so my free time was really limited. But I'm really happy that I was able to finish 3 books, and I started this one. And now I can continue with my December plan. And if you haven't watched my December TBR, please go and watch it. I'll link it down below if you want to. But that's pretty much it. Tell me if you have read any of these books, if you agree with me or not. If you have a different opinion, I would love to know. And I would love to, we could have a discussion about it and share our different perspectives. I think that's really healthy. So if you have a different opinion, please comment down below, like, subscribe, all that, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.